This is a guy who's been very consistent on no amnesty, no legalization for folks who have been coming to the country illegally. And that's always been the underpinning of his policy, along with the building of the wall.
Joining me now is conservative columnist Ann Coulter, who is out with a new book, In Trump We Trust, De Pluribus Awesome, close quote. That is the title. Congratulations on your new book. And
Thank you.
First of all, we wanted to talk to you about immigration and your take on where he's going with that. But obviously, the news that has just broken about Huma Abedin. I don't know if you have a comment.
No, just that I'm surprised it took so long.
It's hard to figure out what happens in anyone's personal lives, but it obviously has a political impact, which is why we're talking about it today. On immigration, are you satisfied now from the latest signals that Donald Trump, when he has this speech on Wednesday, is going to come out as clearly as you would like him to come out on the whole question of deportation and what to do about people who are here? And he said that he's clear about what he's going to do about criminal undocumented workers. But in one definition, anybody who's here illegally has broken the law. So are we talking about deporting 11, 12 million people, as he promised to do during the primaries?
No, I think he has been consistent, really pretty much from day one, that he's going to protect the borders and not dissolve, American sovereignty. I think he actually, the only thing, and he was totally consistent this week in all of his speeches, there was the one interview on Hannity where he got into the weeds on, the hard cases that we get sick of all legislators obsessing over. But I think he really just did it as a favor to me, because every time I have the slightest criticism for him, suddenly the mainstream media remembers I exist. And this was really just constructive criticism, which is... it is only in the case of immigration. I mean, there's the famous cliche, which is a cliche, but it's true, hard cases make bad law. And it's only in the case of immigration that we always instantly, not we, but Marco Rubio, Mitch McConnell, the RNC, the entire Democratic Party, go instantly to the hardest cases. It's as if we're, discussing speeding laws. And first, let's figure out, let's rearrange the entire solar system to deal with a man who's rushing his wife to the hospital. Well, no, the basic principle is build the wall. No one who is here illegally, staying here illegally, working illegally has a constitutional right to be here, and we'll decide who gets to stay and who goes on the basis of what's good for America. I mean, the one thing, he's new to politics in some ways, on details and often rhetorical issues. But the one thing that his life is shot through with is putting Americans' interests first.
And how do you decide who stays and who goes when you've got millions and millions of people? There are millions of people, arguably, who've been here 20 years, who have families, who meet the definition that he laid out in the Hannity interview back down in Austin last week, who are solid citizens. So do they all get to stay? Where do you draw the line?
You're doing exactly what people like me always complain about, and that is focusing on, these specific cases. Look, for even the most law-abiding illegal alien, as I describe in my book, In Trump We Trust. Obviously, this is covered much more in my last book, Adios America. But for even the most law-abiding illegal immigrant, and let's say an illegal immigrant who doesn't need English as a second language classes for his child or her child, that one child will cost the taxpayers at a minimum of $12,000 a year to educate. What taxes do illegal aliens pay? They pay sales tax. Well, in the highest sales district in the entire country, you would have to have an illegal alien purchasing taxable goods in the amount of about $125,000 a year just to break even on what it costs Americans for that. What paying back taxes means, this is legerdemain from the amnesty crowd, means we give each illegal alien a huge earned income tax credit. We give each illegal alien about $30,000, depending how long they've been working here, in taxpayer money, which, okay, maybe Americans are going to want to do that, but I think we ought to be honest about it, and we ought to check with the American people whose taxes are being used to pay for illegal aliens to stay here, rather than to fund their Social Security, their Medicaid, and their Medicare. But the point I think Trump has been making from the beginning is consistent with all of this. He just fell into some of the cliches from the old Rubio amnesty crowd, and that is to put America's interests first, on jobs, on immigration, on going to war. What is best for America? We've been through a tough time now. We had, 9/11, 2 wars. We've had a disastrous economy outside of New York, L.A., and Washington, D.C., outside of Wall Street getting bailouts. People are really suffering in America, and I think America needs a little now time. I think this is a very appealing message that transcends political parties.
Now, after that Austin speech, or the town hall meeting on Hannity, this is Rush Limbaugh, not mainstream media, I don't think. Rush Limbaugh's reaction. I think you've probably seen this. Let's play it for the audience.
First, they tried Marco Rubio. They tried the Gang of 8. They tried Jeb Bush. They tried any number of people to convince. They tried me. They sent emissaries to the EIB Southern Command. They tried everybody they could think of to try to convince the Republican base to support some form of amnesty for illegal immigrants. And who knew that it would be Donald Trump to come along and convert the GOP base to supporting amnesty the same week Ann Coulter's book comes out? Poor Ann.
So I wanted to give you a chance to react to that. I mean, his point is that this is, quote, amnesty, the same policy that Jeb Bush and Marco Rubio and others had supported and had been in the bill that was voted down.
Yeah, this is a takeoff from my joke on Hardball the night before, saying this would be the shortest book tour ever. If Trump were coming out for amnesty, that's what we call in the business a joke. That is a repetition of the joke the next day. But no, I don't think he is coming out for amnesty. I mean, he did the same thing. The perfect analogy is to when Trump was on with Chris Matthews, and Chris Matthews was pushing him on. Well, if you're against abortion, then there has to be some punishment. What's the punishment going to be? What's the punishment going to be? Trump isn't a politician. He's getting used to some of this stuff. He said, yes, there will be some punishment. You don't have to get into the details of what the policies are. You give us the direction you're going in. We want to know, are we not going to be doing, for example, what the Obama administration is doing now, and that is fighting to release and not deport illegal aliens who have just committed homicide, like this illegal alien in Omaha, Nebraska, who murdered 4.0 GPA student Sarah Root. I mean, that's what we're faced with right now. We have this administration flying in non-refugees from Central America. Somehow Syria has become our problem. I mean, if Latin America is America's problem, why isn't Europe taking care of Syria? How did the entire world become our problem? I don't see, England and Germany reaching out to take refugees from Central America. We've just turned our country into a charity ward when I think it's time to put Americans first, and that is clearly Donald Trump's principle. He fell for the nonsense about, I mean, he was being pushed in a question, being pushed. What about the hard case? Let's spend all of our time talking about the hard case and never develop a speeding law. Just that one case of the man rushing his wife to a hospital and going 80 miles per hour in a 60-mile zone. We'll deal with that. We'll burn that bridge when we get to it, as I like to say.
Ann Coulter, and the book is In Trump We Trust, E Pluribus Awesome. Thank you very much, Ann. Thank you.